What is going on, Steno Squad? Welcome to the Lady Steno podcast, where I chat with the brightest real-time providers in the field of stenography. And if you are ready to increase your real-time speed and translation rate, head over to www.stenospeedclinic.com for an exciting opportunity. Now let's chat with today's featured guest, Saba McKinley. Saba, are you ready to go on the record?
Yes, I'm ready to go on the record.
Saba, a professional stenographer of 27 years, has been a real-time freelance reporter and cart provider for the last 8 years in Long Beach, California. Saba hosts workshops and boot camps to instruct and empower stenographers of all levels seeking to become savvy real-time writers and cart providers. She is also the author of Cart Captioning 101. Saba, thank you so much for being a part of this episode. How about you tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a glimpse into your personal life?
All right. First of all, thanks for having me on the call and the podcast. I'm really excited about you doing this. I just got married on November the 20th. It was really wonderful just putting everything together and then having my son fly in from Germany with his new family just added to a really, really happy time in my life. And I'm still kind of riding on that cloud. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time for me right now.
Congratulations. So let's talk about Steno. When did your Steno life start?
Well, I started school in the 80s. So a long time ago. I started in 1986 at Downey Adult School. Actually, I started at Bryan College and I went there for a couple of months, but the price was just way too much for me. And a friend of mine who was already a court reporter told me about the school that she went to, which was Downey Adult School. And so I went to that school and it took me like 4.5 years to finish.
So when you switched schools, did you have to switch theories?
No, because it had only been a couple of months, I couldn't tell you that that's what happened with me. And it's been so long ago that I don't really remember, but I'd say no. I don't think I had to switch theories.
And what theory did you learn?
That's another one that I can't really answer. I don't know what theory it is that I learned. I really wanted to do real time. So I started taking lots of seminars after I had already become a court reporter. And I have tweaked my writing so much with learning real time that I just call it Saba theory at this point.
Saba theory. Okay. That sounds good. And at what point did you decide that you wanted to become a real-time writer? And what caused that?
Well, what caused it is that when I was in school, I got married and then I had a child before I even finished school. And I knew that once I became a court reporter that I wanted to be able to be a mom, be a wife. And if I was busy working on transcripts and editing for an extended amount of time, that was going to take away from me wanting to be there for my baby and there for my husband. And so I said, if I learn this real time, it'll cut down on my editing time. And so that really was the trigger for me wanting to do real time.
And what were the steps that you took so that you were a real-time reporter?
Primarily, it was going to conventions, learning about real time, and then taking courses from whoever was presenting at the conventions who had courses for real time. Then I would go and take those courses. The one person that I can remember for sure that I took courses from is Anita Paul.
Being that you're from California and you worked in California, you had to be California certified in order to start working. What made you decide to get certified in order to start providing CART?
What made me get certified? That really is it's a long answer to that question. It's just being out in the field and working next to people who didn't have any kind of certifications, primarily people who were still in school for court reporting and hadn't passed the test to write at 200 words per minute or 225 words per minute. Sitting next to them and seeing what was happening with that was the catalyst for me wanting to get certification.
So let's take our listeners to what you would call your worst moment while real timing. Tell us about that.
So the worst moment for me was actually, it was a few, but it was in regards to when I first started doing CART. And I can remember sitting next to experienced cart captioners who were not necessarily writing verbatim what the speaker was saying, but they were writing for understanding. And because I am a verbatim writer, I continued to write verbatim, and I would see this sloppy real-time writing coming across the screen. Although I had considered myself a very skilled real-time writer before I started providing CART, but sitting next to someone who was experienced, who knew how to use prefixes and suffixes and to build upon words and knew how to write for understanding as opposed to exactly what the person was saying, it made me want to improve my real-time skills. It made me want to be a better writer for the consumer so that the consumer would have a greater work product so that they could understand what the speaker was saying.
Now we want to talk about the most lucrative assignment that you've had as a real-time reporter. What was that job about and how much did you make?
Well, the most recent job that I have taken where that was pretty lucrative, it actually provided the income that I needed so that I could fly to Germany when my son was delivering their child. And that was an asbestos case. It was an asbestos trial that went for 3 weeks. There was real time that was ordered on that job, and there were also dailies. And I'm actually in the midst of working on the appeal right now. So there's even more money to be made on this same case because now it's being appealed. But I was looking the other day at how much money I made and if I had been paid for everything and what the dates were as I was getting my appeal together. So I'd know what to bill for the new ones that they didn't order during the trial. And noticed that I had made over $20,000 on that trial. So I would consider that to be pretty lucrative, especially since I was teaming that job, meaning I was only working about 3 hours a day. It was 3 hours of my time sitting down doing steno, and it produced that income, which was fabulous. Like I said, I was able to go to Germany to visit my son when they delivered their child, my first grandchild. So that was pretty cool.
I mean, with $20,000, you could have brought the whole family to Germany. That's a lot of money. So you work 3 hours a day and you made $20,000, but how many days did you work?
All told, it was about 18 days. It was a little over 3 weeks.
So that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's $1,000 more or less for 3 hours of work.
Yes.
Of course, you have your transcription time and everything else, but all in all, that 3 hour day caused you to earn over $1,000.
Yes, absolutely.
Steno Squad, that is a ton of money. And there are still massive amounts of money to be made when real timing. It's out there. It's up to you to go out there and get it. We will be right back with more gems from Saba McKinley. But first, let's take a minute to thank our sponsor. Do you want a free, easy, and quick way to shorten your writing? Check out Lady Steno on Instagram or visit www.instagram.com/ladysteno. Once in the Instagram app, you can save all the briefs you want to start implementing. Then, whenever you get to your computer, add those briefs to your dictionary. Each brief has a 20-second long video with beautiful graphics and captions designed to help you retain each outline. Briefs are added daily. Follow Lady Steno on Instagram and shorten your writing now. And we are back, Steno Squad, with Saba McKinley. Now, Saba, bring us to today. What is your writing style like? Do you brief a lot? Do you phrase? Do you write everything out? Tell us about that.
That's really interesting too. Like you mentioned earlier, I've been a reporter for 27 years. So I've done a lot of modifying my writing, and I wrote everything out. When I worked for the court system, which was for 19 years, I wrote everything out. I rarely briefed. But when I became a cart captioner, it became necessary for me to start briefing just for clarity, just for readability on the screen. I needed to learn how to brief. And I don't necessarily use phrases. That's something that I'm hoping to learn from you in the very near future, because I know you do that in your speed clinics. You teach about how to do phrasing, and I would like to learn how to do that. So I don't necessarily do phrasing, but I do use my prefixes and suffixes to build upon words. I do something that we call finger spelling that helps me get a really clean record. And I also brief. I call it intelligent briefing so that it comes out really cleanly on the screen. And all of that has come since I've been a cart captioner.
Since 1991, your writing has evolved. Now that you're writing the Saba theory, but was there ever a point before that Saba theory was what we'll call finalized? Was there ever a time that you felt your writing style would not permit you to become a real-time writer?
I don't know if I would word it in that way, only insofar as I was excited about the idea of being able to provide real time. I've always liked the latest and the greatest of anything that has to do with Steno. I love Steno. and so anything that's talking about the evolving of Steno or how to be a better writer, anything like that has always been exciting to me. So I don't know if there was a point where, other than, like I said, having my children and wanting to be there, cutting down on my editing time, that is really the primary thing that made me want to do real time. Not that I thought my writing was something that I needed to change so that I could do real time, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does make sense. Mm-hmm. And what about today? What about your current practice routine? Do you practice?
I don't say that I necessarily practice, but my writing has improved and continues to improve because I am doing boot camps, because I am working one-on-one with clients, because I am doing classes with groups of people. I'm explaining to them how to improve their writing, which in turn, I end up improving my writing because I say, oh, I can change how I'm writing a particular thing. And so I will change my writing in that way. But as far as an actual practice routine, I don't have one.
Definitely teaching is the highest form of learning. I know I feel ever since I started doing my speed clinics, my writing has improved dramatically. And even things that I wasn't really that sure of, I'm now solid on. So you mentioned some of the boot camps and some of the classes you teach. Tell us more about that. What's the next one you have coming up?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I recently did a boot camp and I absolutely loved it. It was a 2-day live event, and I will definitely be doing one of those in the future because there's nothing like having which I'm sure you know about this too, Miss Lady Steno, that having people in a room and the interaction is just a special time. It's a time when you can really share skills and learn with each other. Even things that you probably wouldn't think that you would want to teach, somebody will bring that to your attention. But I have a 6-month online course that I'm beginning in January. It's going to run from January the 8th through June 11th. And I'm just calling it Cart Captioning Mastery, but it's really profiting from your real time is what's going to allow you to do once you take this course.
So is this a course designed for students, working reporters? Who's the perfect student?
I think the perfect person for this is anyone who has wanted to become a captioner, or if you're someone who wants to improve your real-time skills and cut down on your editing time, or you're someone who's burned out from doing too many transcripts, or you want to increase your earning potential, have more freedom to do the things that you enjoy, and have greater flexibility in your work schedule, or if you just want to earn CEUs, this is a course for you.
Oh, that's awesome. So they could earn CEUs by participating in the mastery program.
Absolutely.
This program, this Cart Captioning Mastery program, does it matter what theory the participant has learned?
No, it doesn't matter what theory you're on, because we're going to primarily be working with understanding what's in your dictionary, why prefixes and suffixes are so important to be able to build upon words. Not only are you going to learn why that's important, but during those 6 months, you'll also be entering prefixes and suffixes into your dictionary. So as opposed to just like when you go to a seminar and you learn that this is something that will help your writing style, this is a step-by-step that walks you through it. We meet weekly on Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's just going to be step by step. We're going to implement these concepts that I'm explaining to you, what has improved my writing, I walk you through that so that you can improve your writing. I spoke about that finger spelling and why finger spelling is helpful, especially if you're a cart captioner. It's foundation. And it just allows you, when you don't have something in your dictionary, even though you have prefixes and suffixes and you've gotten all your conflicts out and everything is working well for you, but if something comes up that you know is not in your dictionary and you want to be able to get that clean right as you're taking it down in real time, finger spelling is something that is phenomenal for that. So we talk about how you can develop a finger spelling technique and begin practicing that finger spelling technique while you're in the course. And as I mentioned before, it will enhance your real time skills. I have people that I've worked with in the past who have told me that their real time increased by 5 or 10% in just a short amount of time of working with me. This is my first time doing a 6-month long course. Before I had my course was only 90 days. So for someone to be able to take their real time in that 90-day period and see that they have a better translation rate is a plus. So that's something that's you definitely will walk away with that when you take this course. And for those who sign up right away, I have a fast action scholarship. You'll get $500 off the course. And that's for 5 people. And it's called fast action for a reason. You need to contact me through my website with the code Lady Steno. And so that is at sabamckinley.com/Lady Steno. And that will allow me to connect with you. That we can talk about the course and get you enrolled. Oh, and also one other thing. I'm sorry, Katiana, I have one other thing. There's a bonus that comes along with that. And I should have said this earlier because to me, this is the kicker and something that's really helpful to people who work with me. You get a one-on-one dictionary assessment. So for your dictionary, what's in your dictionary, we're going to do a one-on-one assessment on that. And so you won't be overwhelmed with where you need to start in your dictionary to start making changes that are going to be immediately effective for you in your day-to-day writing.
Saba, your program, Cart Captioning Mastery, that sounds amazing. And it seems to me that if someone were to register for your class and start on January 8th and take it seriously, that by June 11th, they would be absolutely ready to start providing real time. What do you think?
I think you are right. I think they'll be very, very pleased with how their dictionary looks, that they'll have control of their writing, their confidence is going to be boosted. And the best thing of all, increase the earning potential. Start taking on the jobs like I took that earned me $20,000 in less than a month.
So definitely, guys, check out Saba's websites. All of the info will be in the show details. And remember the code Lady Steno so that you can be on the fast track to writing real time. So now, Saba, what is the best court reporting advice that you have ever received?
The best court reporting advice I've ever received is to stay current. Know what is happening in the industry. You have to know what's happening with our industry so that you can stay on top of it. They've always talked about recording, taking our jobs. And I know that real time is the reason why we still have a job because we're technologically based. That's the kind of work that we do. So staying current with your software, keeping your support up to date, attending conventions, all of those things are the best advice that I have received being a steno writer.
And what about the advice you would give to any future real timers out there listening to the Lady Steno podcast?
My advice would be, along with that good advice that was given to me, is that all of those things are going to allow you to stay marketable and you want to remain marketable. When I was an employee, I did not have the mindset of staying on top of what's going on with the industry. But since I've been doing cart captioning and been an independent contractor, I know that understanding what's going on in our field and attending those conventions, all of those things are going to help you to stay marketable, to have the kind of jobs that you want to have and earn the kind of money that you want to earn. So that is the best advice that I can give you for enjoying this beautiful profession of court reporting and cart captioning.
Thank you so much, Saba, for being a guest on the Lady Steno podcast. You have given us a lot of great advice, a lot of good inspiration and motivation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.